Driving in the south of France can seem like stepping into a whirlwind. Chaotic roads, buzzing scooters, and roundabouts that feel like an endless loop. But don't worry, we're here to prove that it's not just manageable, it can even be fun. From tips to mastering the infamous roundabouts to finding the best scenic drives and avoiding parking nightmares, we've got everything you need to cruise these roads with confidence. So let's hit the road. When we have friends visiting from Germany, for instance, they always wonder, how do you cope with the traffic? And honestly, it's not that complicated. You really get used to it. You just have to know a few certain things, and those we're going to show you right now. We're mostly sticking around Antibes today because it's a perfect spot to show you what city traffic looks like and how to navigate your way onto the motorway. Plus, it's home to what's probably one of the most nerve-wracking roundabouts on the French Riviera. If you're not used to roundabouts, don't panic. They might seem intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of a few simple rules, they actually keep traffic flowing smoothly. Seriously though, this little French specialty is worth the effort. Rule number 1, drivers already in the roundabout have the right of way. So as you approach, slow down, check to your left when you're at the front of the line, and only enter when there's a clear gap. It might take a bit of courage at first, but trust us, it gets easier with practice. For single-lane roundabouts, it's pretty straightforward then. Just indicate right when you're ready to exit and leave the circle. Now for multi-lane roundabouts, things can get a little bit trickier. If you're taking the first exit, stick to the right lane when entering, signal right and exit. Easy. But if you're heading for the second or third exit, enter using the middle or left lane, stay in that lane while you're in the roundabout, and then signal right before your exit. Here's the catch. Cars in the outer lane are supposed to give way to you when you exit. But well, sometimes they don't, so always double check and stay alert. Not so complicated after all, right? Now let's hit the motorway. Here in the Alpes-Maritimes, home to Nice, Antibes, Cannes and more, there's just one motorway, the A8. It runs more or less parallel to the coastline, so navigating is a breeze. Just keep an eye out for blue road signs, they mark the motorway. Green and white signs, those will guide you to cities via regular roads. Most motorways in France have tolls, or as they call them here, péage. Sometimes you pay when entering and or exiting the motorway. Other times you'll encounter a massive toll station called a gare de péage, where everyone stops to pay. These barriers can catch you off guard if you're not expecting them, so keep a lookout. How do you handle toll stations? Here's the breakdown. Some lanes are reserved for subscribers of the badge. You'll see a big orange T marking those. Other lanes are credit card only, no cash allowed. And then there are the lanes where you can use both credit cards and cash. If you're paying cash, forget those old school coin funnels. They're gone, at least here on the Riviera. Now there are slots for bills and coins. And at some toll stations, you'll grab a ticket instead of paying, just like in a parking garage. When you exit the motorway, you insert the ticket and pay based on how far you've traveled. Heads up, tolls in France aren't cheap. But the good news? The motorways are incredibly well maintained. And they're way more relaxing to drive on than, say, the Autobahn in Germany. As for speed limits, it depends. Here in the Alpes-Maritimes, it's 110 kilometers per hour, or 100 if it's raining. In the rest of France, the standard is 130 kilometers per hour, unless otherwise indicated. And if you see the word rappel on a sign, that's just a reminder of the current limit. Need a pit stop? You'll find bathrooms just after those big toll stations. Plus, there are service areas, or aires, every so often. They typically have a gas station, a fast food restaurant for coffee or sandwiches, a shop stocked with candy, snacks and drinks, and other road trip essentials, and of course bathrooms.
Using the loo is for free in all of France, as far as we know, which is really great.
And knowing us, you guessed it, we had to grab a coffee before hitting the road again. Next up, we're diving into city traffic. But before we get there, one last little tip. Those big black screens on the motorway, they show you how long it'll take to reach the next major spots or if there's a traffic jam ahead. Finding a parking spot can be a challenge, less so in the low season, but still. Free parking, pretty rare in most cities along the French Riviera. So your options are either paid roadside parking, payant in French, or parking lots and garages. For outdoor parking, there's usually a ticket machine nearby. You can often switch them to English, German, or Italian. Roadside parking is usually limited to 2 hours, but here's a little trick. In many places, it's free between noon and 2 p.m., at night and on weekends. Some cities, like Antibes, even give you an hour for free once a day. So if you time it right, you can stretch your parking time beyond the official limit. The machines are pretty straightforward. Press the start button, choose your language, then hit 1 to begin. Enter your license plate number, press the green OK button, select your rate, which is standard, so Anja presses 1. We're good with the free hour, so we press OK again, and the machine prints a ticket, which goes behind the windshield. If you need more time, select your duration and pay by credit card or coins. Easy. If you don't feel like circling for a spot, parking garages are a solid option, but in summer they can be full by 10 a.m. We're lucky, this one still has spaces. At the entrance, just press the big button for a ticket. These machines look pretty much the same everywhere. One thing to keep in mind, parking garages here are often really tight, so we usually take the small car when heading into town. And since this little underground detour was just to show you how it works, we're already heading back out.
The really convenient thing about French parking garages is you don't have to pass by the ticket machine. You can just pay right at the exit.
We always pay by credit card, but if you prefer cash, you'll need to stop at a ticket machine inside before leaving. And now for some extra tips and insights. If you're driving on the Riviera, you will hit traffic, no way around it. Sometimes it's road work, sometimes just the usual congestion, so plan for delays, stay cool, and maybe put on a fun podcast. You'll get there. Now let's talk about the real road hazard down here, motorcycles and scooters. They zip through tiny gaps in traffic, come out of nowhere, and overtake on both the left and the right. If you're not paying attention, you might not see them until it's too late, so always keep an eye out, even when there's no traffic jam. Another thing to get used to, second row parking. Yeah, people just leave their cars in the middle of the street. Annoying? Yes. Uncommon? Not at all. And speaking of road conditions, many streets in the south of France are really narrow, whether you're in a city or out in the countryside. If you can't, go for a smaller car. Driving an SUV here? That's an adventure in itself. Here are a couple of important roadsides to know, besides the blue ones with white lettering for motorways and the green and white ones for major or local roads. Follow the centre-ville sign if you want to reach the city center. And the sign toute direction, meaning all directions, helps guide you around a town or village. So follow it until you get close to your exact destination.
The French driver is really gentle, not aggressive at all. He's really patient. So, for example, you don't know your way and you discover the very last minute that you want to change the lane. No problem, you just do it, they will leave you the space.
Traffic lights aren't super common here, except in bigger cities. But when they do exist, we love the small repeaters right at eye level. No more straining your neck to check if the lights turn green. Got an electric car? You're in luck. The Riviera is full of charging stations, on the road, parking garages, everywhere. And before we dive into the best scenic roads in the region, here's another quick tip. If you're looking to rent a car on the Côte d'Azur, Nice Airport has the biggest selection, but you'll also find smaller rental places all over the region. If you want to support our channel, check out discovercars.com. We get a small commission if you book through them.
One last tip, really important. Avoid the rush hour, which is every morning between 8 and 10 and in the afternoon between 5 and 7. This goes for all the cities, everywhere, year-round.
And as a little bonus for making it to the end of this video, here are the top 5 scenic roads you absolutely need to explore on wheels. Our all-time favorite, the breathtaking Corniche d'Or between Théoule-sur-Mer and Saint-Raphaël. Then there are the 3 almost equally stunning corniches between Nice and Monaco, the Basse, Moyenne and Grande Corniche. Each one takes you on a different level, from hugging the coastline to winding up high in the mountains. And last but not least, the dramatic Route Napoléon, snaking through spectacular landscapes between Grasse and the Gorge du Verdon, with hairpin bends and jaw-dropping views. Thanks for watching! If you found this helpful, we've got plenty more useful tips, like our videos on public transport. So check them out, and don't forget to subscribe for more insider info on the French Riviera. See you in the next one!